It's time for another edition of Why Are You Awake? Paul Farahvar here, your host. This week we have comedian Ali Clayton. Make sure you follow her if you aren't already on all the socials. Also, if you're listening to this podcast, go over and watch it on the YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Paul F Comedy. If you're not following me already, follow me on Instagram as well at Paul Farahvar. You can also follow me on Facebook now. I've been active on there, which is Paul F Comedy, and also TikTok and YouTube, which is where you're probably watching this. If you're coming to see me live, I'll be at Off the Hook on Wednesday, July 11th. That might be today, depending on when you hear this. In Naples, I'll be at Sad Man's Comedy Club in Boca Raton, June 13th and 14th. I'll be back in Chicago for stand-up sit-down at the world-famous Laugh Factory on June 16th. That's a Monday. If you DM me, I'll give you free tickets to that show, by the way. Great lineup. Kevin Bozeman, Jeannie Dugan, Sam Roca, and Ali Clayton. I'll be at the Laughing Academy with Kristen Tooby and Abby Sanchez for Gen X Comedy. Laughing Academy on June 20th in Glenview. Las Vegas, June 23rd through 29th at the MGM Grand with Greg Warren. I'll be back in Chicago for stand-up sit-down on June 30th and at Side Splitters in Wesley Chapel, Florida on July 5th. Headlining Detroit One Night Stands, Waterford Township, July 10th through the 12th, and at the Comedy Vault for Paul Farahvar Friends on Sunday, July 27th, and then at JP's Comedy Club again in August. If you're watching this podcast and you like it, give us a review, comments, whatever you do. It helps a lot for the algorithm. If you send us a review on YouTube or Apple or whatever, show me that you did it. I'll send you one of our pins. I've got 7 of these left. These are cool, super cool pins. Thank you for listening or watching this podcast. I've been putting up some old episodes of Singles Only and make us a mixtape. I have a new show project coming out too, which I'll be happy to announce soon. So make sure you follow me so you can see that as well. And also check out our sponsor. Hey gang, as some of you know, I used to be a practicing lawyer in Chicago. I no longer practice, but from time to time I need a lawyer. And when I need a lawyer, I call my friend Scott Shapiro. Scott Shapiro has been practicing law for over 25 years in Chicago. He does it all, from workers' compensation to personal injury, employment issues, and even entertainment law and contract needs. If you need a lawyer, call my friend Scott. 312-648-8800. That's 312-648-8800. Or you can email him at scott@scottshapirolegal.com. Tell him I sent you. You're welcome. It's time for another edition of Why Are You Awake? Paul Farahvar here, your host. This week we have one of my favorite comedians from Chicago originally in town just for this podcast, Ali fucking Clayton. Ali.
Hi, Paul.
Thank you for doing the podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me.
You are one of my favorite people for so many reasons. When I started comedy, you were one of the first people that were nice to us, newer comics, I should say. I'm older than you.
Are you? I'm like, I don't know, or we might be the same age.
No, I'm probably older. I think I'm your dad's age.
Nice. You look great.
Your lawyer dad. You did my podcast, Singles Only. I went back and looked at this. Episode 16 on August 1st, 2016.
Wow.
That's 9 years ago.
Did I record with you and Marty for that?
No, we did. Marty and I did the Make Us a Mixtape. You made us a mixtape of 5 songs.
That was fun.
And they were cool. You did the podcast the right way. We created that podcast so people could tell us like a theme or have songs they made. And you had awesome backstories for all your songs. I think that you talked about Cher a little bit. It was fun. It was a great episode. But the Singles Only podcast was fun because it was just me and you. I think we recorded it at the Laugh Factory in Chicago.
That would make a lot of sense.
When you were exploring your sexuality.
I was on an exploration.
Yes.
And I found the answer.
You found the answer. I think you were bisexual at that point.
Yeah, when I started comedy, I think I was straight, and then I was bi, and now I'm full lesbian.
Full lesbian?
Mm-hmm.
How did that go?
Have you met men?
Yeah, when I met you, you were dating dudes.
Yeah. Big part of it was getting sober.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell jokes about it on stage where I'm like, the whole time I lived in Chicago, I thought I was bisexual, but it turns out I was just drunk. And
yeah, you partied hard back in the day. I think I remember that about you.
Yeah. I had like one boyfriend, but like mainly it was just like a lot of drunken sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long you been sober now?
7 years.
Sober?
Sober.
Hell
well,
yeah.
I smoke weed.
Yeah, that's still California sober.
California sober, yeah.
That counts. That's awesome.
No
Good
drinking,
for you. Yeah, it is funny. With this podcast, I'm pretty sober. I'm sober-ish. I don't really drink that often compared to 10 years ago. It is crazy how much when you're sober, it changes everything in terms of how late you stay up, blah, 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 what you do, productivity.
Who I surround myself with.
Yeah, you had friends that were just party friends. And then when you stop drinking, you're like, oh, I don't really have anything in common with you anymore.
Yeah, I was like, oh, blacking out. That was our common thing.
Yeah. When did you move to Chicago?
2009 from Kentucky. I'm originally from North Carolina, lived in Louisville for a year, doing an apprenticeship, went from Louisville to here.
Apprenticeship for what?
Actors Theater of Louisville. My degree is in acting.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Are you using it?
Shit, I'm trying. No, mainly people just want to pay me to be myself.
Were you always like an acting kid or a theater kid when you were a kid?
Oh, I'm a special ed kid, so it was like she had to find something.
What do you mean special ed kid?
So dyslexic, dyscalculic, ADHD. So like I went half a day to a special school, which was just one teacher to 4 students. Then I would go to like a mainstream, which was still a private school, a mainstream school the rest of the day. I was heavy into, I was in special ed. That's what I was in.
Do you think that was because of where you were in North Carolina, or do you think that would have applied if you today?
I'm incredibly dyslexic. Like,
okay.
That's my big struggle. So yeah, no, and I'm still in touch with that school, and I just went and saw my old counselor and gave her one of my albums, and I thanked her on it. I couldn't fucking read. Like I tried so hard, but I just wasn't good at school. It was like I needed something, and my mom put me, I swear it was like I got a dyslexia diagnosis, and my mom was like, beauty pageants.
She's not going to be a neurosurgeon.
No, this one can't read, but have you seen her spin? So she immediately put me in beauty pageants, and I didn't love like the competitiveness of everything. That could feel like shit at times, but I loved the costumes.
Yeah.
And I loved that for every category, I had a new routine. So I just loved being on the stage.
Were you friends with people that were in your special classes, or were you with the people that were considered, orthodox, normal kids, normals? Does that make sense?
Yes. I mean, if I'm thinking about it honestly at this moment, both. But I think I kind of tried to hide when if I was good friends with like one of my special ed school friends, like I wasn't telling my friends in school.
Kept them separate but equal.
Yeah.
What about when you got to like high school? Were you still in special ed?
Well, high school. Wow.
North Carolina, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, my sophomore year of high school, I got shipped off to one of them places in the woods where for like you're a bad kid.
Oh, trouble kids.
Like what Paris Hilton has dealt with. And
okay.
I'm actually like working.
Yeah. Okay.
About it's the troubled teen industry. I went to a trauma factory for 13 months. So I didn't really get a lot of my services and things. I was only allowed to go to school 3 days a week, and then the other days was just manual labor, and they considered that school. Yeah. Digging trenches and.
Why were you shipped off? What did you do that made you troubled?
I attempted suicide.
Okay.
At 15. I had this cousin that's a crackhead, and he lived with us, and my parents were like, you can live here, but no crack. And he was like, I think I'll do a little crack. And
did you get into the crack?
I did not get into the crack, but he would give me pills and a lot of alcohol. And it would be like, he'd be like, hey, tell your mom and dad that we're going to go to dinner and a movie. We need $70. I was like, okay. And I'd just be like, we're going to go dinner and movie. Can we have $70? My dad's drunk. He's like, yeah, sure. And give it to me. And then we go, and he would get me a pack of Marlboro Lights and a 40 of Cisco, this malt liquor.
Oh, I know Cisco.
It's no longer.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Cisco is no more. It would get you.
So you were 14 and you were drinking on the reg?
I was starting at like 13.
Okay.
Yes.
Because of the cousin?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's.
How old was he?
21.
Oh, God. Okay.
So it was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm so cool. So I don't think I was an addict by any means, but when I got shipped off to that place, they make you admit all these things. That like you got to admit you're a whore, you got to admit you're a drug addict.
Did they let you smoke or do anything?
I couldn't look out a window, so no.
So it's really bad.
It was really bad.
How did it help, if at all, when you got done after the 13 months? Clearly, you wouldn't recommend it for children of the future.
I'm actually working on a project right now to try to shut it down. It's really fucked up because I got sent to a psych ward, and the doctor at the psych ward said, if you don't send her to one of these places, and it's like a list of like 5 troubled teen industry places, I guarantee you she'll kill herself in a year. So what are my parents supposed to do? Like, they're like, that's the only option. So they send me there. I'm now doing all this research as an adult. The doctors get kickbacks.
I was just going to say.
They get paid.
That's insane that's happened for so long, especially at the levels, look, Paris's parents were wealthy. They could have done some research to figure this shit out and be like, this doesn't seem right. Why is this guy pushing it so hard? And why does he have stickers of these places on his on his car?
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened then? Were you
I went
drinking?
back to special ed school. I went hard.
Special ed high school?
Yeah, I went half day I went back to the same school. So I went half day at that program and then went the rest of the day at a public high school, which is my first time ever going to a public school in my whole life. Was my junior year. And it was fine.
Big school?
Big school. Big school.
What were you like there? Were you partying or?
Not my junior year. I was like, a lot of the methods they use at those places are brainwashing techniques. And so it's almost like coming out of being in a cult. So I was like, if I don't do 90 meetings in 90 days, then I'll die. And if I don't and join an NA, a Narcotics Anonymous home group, I'm probably going to end up on heroin. And like, I was obsessed with it. And so I did that. I did 90 meetings in 90 days. I was a part of a home group that was in this old church. I had a key to this church. I was 16 years old. I had a key to this church, and I would show up early to make coffee for like 50-year-old heroin addicts. And those were my friends. And I would go to the Narcotics Anonymous dances with them.
Were you the youngest person?
Always.
Don't they see that that's kind of a problem too, when there's someone young hanging out with these older dudes who maybe they don't do heroin anymore, but they probably have other vices?
Yeah, I don't know. I have nobody seemed concerned.
What happened senior year then? You said it was different.
So I got this boyfriend, and everybody's drinking and partying, and so like I did end up, but not to any extent where it affected my school, or I was still like very serious. And like when I went to college, I was just like it was a very competitive acting program. And so like I really was focused on it. I would still like go out and party every now and then.
How'd you get in?
Oh yeah, it's an audition. And so I did a monologue. I had to do 16 bars of a song.
For your monologue, did you do something you had to memorize, or how would you mask the ability? Because you couldn't read, right? You had difficulties with dyslexia.
Well, by the time I was almost 18, I had learned to read.
Okay. Well, I don't mean you couldn't read, but people with dyslexia or even ADHD, it's hard to
comprehension, memorization. It's all like really difficult. If you want me to cold read something, like it's like a panic attack. Like to hand me a piece of paper and be like, oh, and also like show emotion. It's like,
yeah.
Like I need to be like,
you had preparation.
Yeah, I need preparation.
You crushed it. You got into this thing in Louisville.
Yeah, I got into SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, for the master's program and for acting.
Okay.
And then I got offered Actors Theater of Louisville apprentice, and it was actually more competitive than getting into grad school.
So you were just a theater kid.
I was a theater kid.
What was that like in college? It seems like it would be a lot. It would be overbearing for people just always trying to be on.
Yes. Well, I was funny, and everybody was always pointing that out, but I was very confused because I came up in beauty pageants. I'm like, I got long blonde hair and big blue eyes. Why am I not being cast as the princess? Because I was always cast as like a child, a grandma, an animal. Whatever the comedic relief was what I was cast as in the play. And I'd be like, I keep trying to get the lead role, and they just keep being like, you should be the grandma. And
because of your fun.
Because I'm funny.
Yeah.
And so I kind of started to realize that it was a talent, I think, in college. And then when I went to Actors Theater, we had an assignment where you had to do one performance thing that has always terrified you, but that you've always really wanted to do. And I chose stand-up. So yeah, I did my first stand-up in Louisville, Kentucky in 2009, right before I moved to Chicago. I bombed so hard.
Okay.
They called the theater, it's like a big theater in this town, and everybody like highly respects it. One of the main ups calls the local comedy club. Yes, we have someone, we want to get her on stage. This is not an open mic. They put me on a show.
That was your first show?
My first time ever. They gave me 5 minutes.
Oh my God.
It was so bad. I did 5. I went for like a month and a half, and I would ask every single person. And there's all these actors coming in and out doing new shows, and I'm asking everybody, what do you call a vagina? What do you call? And like, I have this list, and I'm like, this is great. And I go up there. I'm start like talking about the different vagina names, and I'll be like, there's a lot of women, they want to pretend they got a pink taco, but we know it's beef curtains, kind of like you, ma'am. And like,
oh my
and
God.
then not these. And this woman goes, "You're a fucking bitch."
This is your first show?
My first show. I got off stage. I cried so hard, but then the headliner, there was one joke that worked. One joke worked.
What was it?
Growing up, I did a lot of beauty pageants. I was kind of like John Benet Ramsey, except for my mama drank more wine and my parents didn't kill me. And that hit. And then the headliner said, you did have one good one. And
this was like a regular weekend show or something?
Yes,
or was it a weekday?
Yes.
Weekend. First show.
Huge show. At a
guest spot.
Yes. At a comedy club.
God.
22 years old.
Yeah.
But I was still like, that felt good. When I got that one laugh, that felt good. And so...
You noticed the laugh on the John Benet joke?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so you're chasing that high now.
Yep. And so everybody, all the other acting apprentices went to New York, and I went by myself to Chicago because I said, I'm going to do comedy.
Why Chicago? Why'd you pick Chicago?
Chicago's
yeah, but we were
city.
Improv back then.
Yeah. Well, I did Second City Conservatory.
Okay. Yeah. So did I. First time I did stand-up was at Three Dead Moose. You were there?
Yeah.
My very first time. I think it was April of 2011, I want to say, or 2012. You were there. I brought all these people too. So I was like, why did I do this? Oh, we really like that. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
We're like real people at an open mic. Yeah.
You were like, wait. You moved to Chicago. Before you moved to Chicago, you did your first stand-up. What did you do right after that in Louisville? Did you try to go up again before?
So they had a couple of like nights where we could do little performances, and I did that, and I'm like in front of all of my apprentice friends and stuff, and so like I'll call them out about it, and like everybody loved it. And I believe my first open mic in Chicago was Shuba's.
Before you moved to Chicago, were you a night owl? What were you doing late at nights?
Oh yes, always. Like as a kid.
Even as a kid you were?
Yeah, I've always been someone who can, like, even now, like I can sleep the entire day.
What were you doing as a kid if you were staying up late?
Drugs.
Okay.
So
well, now when you were 12.
Yes. Well, when I was 13.
I know, that's why I said
13.
12.
Movies. And it's not like I had, like, anything I wasn't allowed to watch. We could watch everything. My mom took us to all the Michael Myers movies. Me and my brother would stay up really late together.
Watching TV?
Yeah.
What would you watch?
Watching stuff like murder, anything murder. Me and Bubs, we just went to India together for 2 weeks, and we are still just like, wait, turn on some murder. Like,
Jesus.
Let's watch it. So anything murder, but then also, this was really horrible, but we watched it so many times. When I got sent off, my brother's best friend, Matt, moved into our house. I think my brothers couldn't stand, like, not having me there. Mm-hmm. And so his best friend moves in, and then my brother goes off to college. I come home. The best friend continues to live there and then becomes really good friends with me. And we would stay up all night watching this one DVD. y'all, I'm gonna look directly in the camera on this one. Y'all, you can't be mad because I was 16, so nobody can be mad. It was called bum fights. And
I remember bum fights.
We would roll it again, and there was this part called Bum Hunter where
they'd fight,
where they look at this one. This one's got this tattoo. It's a chameleon, and it's really fucked up. It's today very canceled. But
so you'd watch bum fights.
We would watch bum fights. We would chain smoke cigarettes. Always chain smoking cigarettes.
Do you still smoke?
I don't. I quit.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So you moved to Chicago. You're doing the conservatory first. That's what you did first when you came here?
I started doing stand-up immediately, too, and then did conservatory as well.
What were you doing up late at night in Chicago?
Oh, all of the men. I mean, you know how it is. It's like you finish the show, and then everybody's like, well, let's go here. And then you end up at the Owl, and it's 4 a.m. Mm-hmm. So many just crazy drinking nights. And for 5 years, when I lived in Chicago, I worked at elementary school. So I had to get my ass up in the morning. And
what were you doing at the elementary school?
Special ed teacher assistant.
Okay.
Loved it, but...
Hungover.
So hungover at that school.
Little sleep.
Very little sleep. Sometimes I would get to school, be like, oh, I got 20 minutes in the car, and wake up with drool and be like, I gotta get in there. A couple of times I woke up on the side of a street, in my car, just I didn't make it all the way home. I don't know. Drinking and driving, it was very supported at the time.
It was. I'll vouch for that.
Would just be like, shit, and just I'm gonna run in TJ Maxx and get a different outfit than yesterday. But one time I was so hungover, been up all night. I don't think I slept. And I go to school. I'm so hungover. I'm on the playground watching the kids, and I start to feel like I'm going to throw up.
Oh, no.
And I start throwing up on this playground in front of all these children. And I look over, and the other teacher that's doing recess, he's also throwing up. And I'm thinking, this is fucking fantastic. This is wonderful. I'm going to go say, I got whatever Steve's got. Obviously, something's going around. I'm going to have to go home. And so I go to the principal, and I was just like, oh, I don't know if you heard about recess. Steve was throwing up, as was I. And I guess something is just going around, and maybe I should go home. I don't want to get anybody else sick. And she goes, oh, really, Allie? You have what Steve has? Because he had a round of chemo this morning and then came into work. I was my jaw hit the fucking ground. I was like, I said, I'm feeling a little better. I'm going back to work.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's brutal. That's a wake-up call.
That's a wake-up call. Really? Because he had a round of chemo. Still came into work.
You're like, I had a round.
I had a lot of rounds. I had of Malort.
You'd be out till the Owl closes at 4.
Yeah. So I would do that. And then
close it out.
I would have to drive out to Wilmette in the morning, pick Bradley up, take him to his day program. I would have to be back at the school by 10:30. I only because Brad's mom was the principal of the school.
Okay.
And I couldn't find anything that coincided with the Bradley hours for me. And Bradley is an adult with autism.
You've been caring for him for years. Yeah.
I met him when I first moved in 2009. He's basically like my brother now.
He's a viral star.
He's a viral star
today. Yeah.
As of today. Yeah, 6 million views.
Yeah.
She basically was like, "Don't quit. I'll make you a job." And I was like, "Okay." And so she makes me this job at the school, but it has it where I can come in late and I can leave a little early.
Okay.
So I can go be with Bradley.
The perks of principal.
The perks of the principal. And
thanks, Obama.
Yeah.
No.
So I remember one time I was driving with Bradley. So horrible. It was so early in the morning, and I'm like nodding off. I'm probably still drunk. I'm drinking directly out of a Pepto-Bismol bottle. And
as you do.
You do. I nod off. I fall asleep, and tap this car in front of me. And it's like this teenage girl in Highland Park with like a BMW.
Right.
And I'm like, fuck. Because I'm also like, if the cops come right now,
you have alcohol in you.
I might blow. Like, you know, like, and she was like, well, good thing you didn't scratch it. And I was like, I'm real sorry. I'm so sorry. And then Bradley's like, and then she sees Bradley. And Bradley's so charming. And Bradley's like, hi, how are you? And she's like, I think it's fine. And like rode away. And I was like, Bradley, you saved us.
How did you sober up?
Womp womp. It was like a mental breakdown, but almost like an alcohol-induced like psychosis. Like I don't think that if I had not been drinking, I don't think I would have attempted suicide.
Okay.
But I did, and wake up in the hospital, and this is actually kind of funny. I'm on suicide watch, so there's somebody in my room at all times, and I wake up, and it's this older black woman, and she just goes, girl, you gotta stay away from vodka. And I was like, where am I? But yeah, since then, April 2018, I haven't drank.
Were there nights where you were partying so hard where you're just like, because
I might could see it like the next day.
Okay.
Like I remember there was one time, it's like 3-something in the morning. I'm so wasted. Me and CJ Sullivan are trying to go to L&L Tavern.
Yes.
And we can't find a parking spot. So we're trying to pick up a motorcycle to move it forward. So that we can park the car there.
A full motorcycle.
I mean, it's like, I said lift. This shit's so heavy. And you can't, by the way, it's really hard to lift a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I was
you
like,
couldn't even lift a scooter.
Like, yeah. I'm full in the lesbian world in New York now. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just constantly surrounded by lesbians. I've gone to Fire Island. And, like, you need to stay up if you're on Fire Island.
What's Fire Island?
Fire Island is where all the queers go. Okay. And you got Cherry Grove, which is, you have to take a boat to get over there. You got Cherry Grove, and Cherry Grove is the lesbians and the older gay men. And then right beside Cherry Grove, a little ways down, you have the Pines. And the Pines is like the young twink boys on ketamine.
Fire Island.
Maybe 2 years, but it was still a struggle for me to like be in those situations in those areas, and I would get really anxious, but I was like, I want to see this fucking performer. Show is phenomenal. So it was like or maybe 2021 vaccines had like just come out.
Okay.
So like we're all still like very nervous and wearing masks and trying to be really careful, but now it's like, okay, you're vaccinated, we're sitting outdoors type thing, it'll be fine. This drag queen is so coked up and so drunk. It's fucking COVID. She's going around drinking out of everyone's drink.
Was she a performer, or she was just so
performer?
Random? Okay.
It was like endearing the performance.
Okay. And
then she comes over to me, grabs me by the face, and French kisses me. I woke up the next morning crying, and my girlfriend looks at me, and I'm crying, and she goes, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "Miss Cracker gave me COVID." And she was like, "You don't know that?" But I'm like, you can't tongue kiss people without asking them.
Right. COVID.
That's something I've learned. You cannot tongue kiss people without asking them.
Even without COVID, yeah.
Yeah, even without COVID.
You just learned that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I knew that when I was a kid. Rules are different above the Mason-Dixon line, I think.
Yeah.
So now you've been sober for a while. Mm-hmm. What are you doing late at night? After a show, how are you coming down?
Go home. I mean, I don't hang out as much as like shouldn't, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, okay, I did miss it. I did well. I'm going home.
Yeah, but you're still wired.
Oh, I go home. I get high. I eat a lot of snacks in bed. I watch typically Law and Order SVU.
So you're not productive?
No, masturbate.
To Law and Order SVU?
Well, sometimes I'll be like, oh, that's weird, because I'll be like, rape. And, and kind of weird to be like fucking yourself, and it's like rape. It's just so I'll turn it on mute, and then I turn porn on my phone.
Okay.
But then as soon as it's done, I can just roll over and hit Olivia Benson back on. Yeah.
When are you writing? When are you creative then? When are you writing and so on?
I feel like not a morning person in that it's hard for me to get out of bed. My brain works the best in the morning. I mean, I constantly, like, I feel like all day long, I'm like writing things down and writing things down.
You don't sit pen to paper for like every day at 3:00 or anything like that?
I wish I had like the discipline to do that. I've done a couple of writing residencies, and that has been great because I'm like, this is the only reason I am here.
Do you record all your sets and listen to them and stuff like that? I mean, that's writing. I count that as writing if you're listening to your set.
Oh, yeah. Listening back to a lot right now because I'm just now, after having worked in the disability community for almost 16 years, I'm starting to talk about it on stage and talk about working with people with developmental disabilities.
Well, you also have the background where you went to school as one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I am one.
And you're able to talk about it.
Yeah.
You've got a skill to be funny about it. Maybe that's going to make you go viral.
Maybe. I did go viral for one thing, my hobby horse video.
Which hobby horse video?
Oh, this was like, I got like...
Those girls riding horses?
Yeah, but I was like one of the first comic. I was like the first comic to make like a parody video.
Oh, I made one too. I didn't know you did one. I just made fun of one.
But it got 14.6 million. I'm like doing an interview, and I'm like,
it's on Instagram.
I'm the number one hobby horse in all of Finland.
Oh no, okay.
I had known about it for years and had been obsessed and thought it was the funniest shit.
It's the best.
And I would watch these after they hobby horse, these interviews, and like when they're like, it is a sport, it is like any other sport, football, bowling, and like it would just crack me up. My great friends over at Evening Squire Productions were like, we'll
cut that out. We don't give free promo here. No,
sorry.
I'm just kidding.
They shot it all for me, and
you got to use your acting degree.
And I got to use my acting degree. I did.
Are you doing any acting out in New York too?
I have a movie in development right now.
Okay.
So I got a development deal this year, and so that is in the process. It's really funny because the lead character in my movie is me, but they had to have a conversation with me and be like, Ali, you can't play Ali. And I'm like, oh, you're not going to get us the financing. And I'm like, well, fuck, you're right. If I insist on being the lead, the movie probably won't get made. So I'll give myself some little role in it. But
you can be the principal that tells you, really? Because he had chemo.
Yeah, because he had chemo. It's about this story of the pussy hunt of 2009. I didn't want anybody in Chicago to find out that I might be gay. I was terrified about that. I was like, because then I'm going to be... You just get the gay spot, you know? Like each show, there's only going to be one gay and there's going to be one woman.
I remember that.
And I was like, I'm already pigeonholed as a woman.
Good old days, as we call it here in Chicago.
I don't want to pigeonhole myself even more. Yeah. And so I didn't know, I knew that I might be gay and that I needed to kiss a woman, but I didn't know where to find the women. So I Googled it. Where are the lesbians? And
Andersonville.
No, that's not what they told me. They told me all the lesbians was in New York City at a place called the Cubby Hole. They told me they're in New York City at the Cubby Hole. So me and another comic at the time that also thought she might be gay, Mo Welch, very gay. And
yes,
we're like, let's go to New York to try to kiss a girl. So we flew there. We stayed in a hostel. We go to Cubby Hole. We get there so early. So drunk. Eventually, like, it fills in and a girl noticed me and walks over and like goes right up to Mo. I'm holding a Bud Light. I'm in a flannel. I thought you had to have one on or you couldn't get in. And Mo like hands me her Bud Light. So now I'm sitting in there with 2 Bud Lights. And then I'm like looking like, where's one for me? And I look and I spot Ricky Lake.
The Ricky
Lake. And I love Ricky Lake. And I was so drunk that I was like, I guess my first time is going to be with Ricky Lake.
I didn't know she was...
She's not.
Okay.
She's not. She's married to a man. It's just like a queer bar. She's there with a queer friend, like hanging out. And I walk up and I was like, anybody ever tell you look like Ricky Lake? And she was like, I'm Ricky Lake. And then I like try to sit at the table. And she like very kindly is like, actually, it was just going to be the 2 of us. And oh, okay, well, can I get a picture? Find my disposable camera. Wind it up, get this. I have this picture. I still have this picture with Ricky Lake. I go back to my corner and nobody wants to talk to me. I don't know what to do. And Mo comes up and is like, look, I'm going to go home with this girl. I was like, you're going to know if you're gay. This is great. Like awesome for you. I'm going to go back to the hostel. I'll meet you for a tour tomorrow. She's like, you have to find someone. And, we came here for that. And Ricky Lake's not interested. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And I look at the furthest end of the bar, and it's this ginormous woman. She's like 6'2", and half her body weight was titters, like huge. And look over, and she's winking and sticking her tongue out at me. And I was like, that's a seizure. She's interested. I walk over to her and I say, hi, I'm Ali. I might be a lesbian or bisexual. What are you? Because I don't know what you say at the cubbyhole to the lesbians. And so I said, what are you? And she goes, I'm Amy. I'm full lesbian. I'm a full lesbian. I might fall on a dick about once a year, but I'm a full lesbian. And I was like, okay, I'll go home with this princess. I go back to her place. Now this is one of the, thank God I stayed up and did this, because now I have a movie based on it. It's one of the best parts of my album. I go back to her place. It's so many flights of stairs. By the time we get up there.
She's so strong.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to need a Gatorade. I'm worn out. And we get to the door, and she goes, shh, opens the door. And this is one of those apartment types where the bathroom is communal in the hall. It is the smallest little it's like a Midwest walk-in closet. There is just a bunk bed, and there is someone on the top bunk. And she goes, hey, don't mind. I was like, okay. And I said, do you want to talk a little bit first? And she rips my flannel off. She picks my entire body up, throws me onto the bottom bunk, gets on top of me, straddling me, gets her titters out, and just starts whopping me in the face with them. Just, and that was when I was like, I am gay. That moment, I was like, I like this a lot. And
amazing.
Then she goes, did you know lesbians do it doggy style? And I was like, what? And she flips me over and then gives me this finger blasting that's so intense. The whole bunk bed, you'd think we were on a cruise ship, is moving. And the person on the top bunk just goes, fuck this shit. I'm going to Dunkin'. This woman is inside me, fingering me, and just goes, will you get me a colada? And I'm just
doesn't ask you what you want.
Yeah, didn't offer me anything. But what a night.
God bless it. Wrapping up on your introduction to lesbianism is probably the best way that we could possibly end this podcast.
And it was a very late night.
Yes. Quick question though. Why couldn't you and Mo just kiss before traveling to the cubbyhole and just see if...
Because we were so close.
It would have been weird.
It would have been really weird.
I just wanted to ask that question in case people were wondering.
Oh, yeah.
Save a lot of money. I really appreciate you doing the podcast. Where can people find out more about you and your upcoming movie? And
you can find me at Ali Clayton Comedy on Instagram and TikTok. And I have a podcast called Y'all Gay. And I have an album out called Cowboy Queer that you can find on all the platforms.
Thank you, Ali, again for
Thanks
doing
for
the podcast. And thank you all for listening or watching. Go to sleep.